When you complete it.
When Vanessa Diggs came out of retirement to return to teaching, she had no idea the setbacks her students would face as a result of COVID-19.
I think we all experience those periods of hopelessness. How are we going to get them back, you know? That was the big question. Cameron, you're complete.
Diggs is a teacher and educational consultant at the Positive Day School in Burlington. She says when looking at test scores from last year compared to the year before, the learning loss was evident.
I think our kids stayed home. Many of them went through situations where they shouldn't have, left alone. That they came back with some scars.
With help from Alamance Achieves, Positive Day School launched a literacy lab and implemented a program called Nook. Nook is a digital learning platform that provides reading support through lessons, games, and assessments.
A lot of times, kids will come to you and they feel like they can't do it. I can't, or I don't know how, or I can't read that. But once they get on Nook and they put on those headphones, it's just putting them in another world.
You ready to move on?
These reading initiatives have helped students gain back some of the basic reading skills lost while schools were closed.
What's the last sentence?
They also incorporate aspects of social and emotional learning, as students pick an emoji before each session to indicate how they're feeling.
We are talking to our individual partners about how can we take this emoji of how a student feels before the session and after the session and go a little bit deeper about supporting their wellness at the same time that we're supporting, this kind of boost of literacy resources.
Positive Day School is just one partner of the Alamance Achieves initiative. The organization came together in 2015 to improve educational outcomes in Alamance County. County leaders realized that education is not just a responsibility of the local school system, but also the whole community.
How do we begin to dismantle systems in order to create opportunity? And we've talked about the widening of the academic gap, and there's also an opportunity gap. So what do we as a community do to change that?
And since they already had a strong collaborative framework in place, Alamance Achieves was quickly able to respond and create virtual classroom hubs when schools shut down at the peak of the pandemic.
And I think that really showed what we can do when as a community we align and we recognize that there's a need in community, but when we come together to problem solve and pool our resources that we can actually make something happen in community that centers and supports our students.
But I can tell when you're completed because it tells me, guys.
For Vanessa Diggs, she says there is still a lot of work to be done, but each step of progress and each small win with her students helps restore a piece of hope for the future.
We've had so much loss, and we talked about loss so much that we almost forgot that there is hope and that we can get our kids back, that our kids are resilient. And if we give them the right tools, and if we come in and if we have the attitude of hope, they feel that, they believe it, and it happens.